Today we're confronting a culinary paradox. On one hand, you have America's greasy, cheesy love affair. On the other hand, well, you have this. My favorite baked meatloaf from the gods. But what, you may ask yourself, happens when these two decide to have a baby? Today we're going to find out. Pizzaleberkäse. Sounds weird, but it's going to be excellent. First, let's address the elephant in the room, since I didn't in my last Leberkäse episode. Leberkäse literally translates to liver cheese. It does not contain any liver or any cheese in the traditional Bavarian recipe. In areas outside of Bavaria, varying degrees of liver have to be added to accommodate the name. That's a legal requirement as to not mislead the customer. However, there's never any cheese in it, at least not to my knowledge. Outside of Bavaria, the liver-free Leberkäse is simply called Fleischkäse, which means meat cheese. Germans do have a sense of humor after all, although it seems to be a little bit dry. This Bavarian specialty, first documented in the late 1800s, probably got its name from old words. Leib, the old German word for loaf, specifies the shape. The käse comes from Käse, which generally designated some kind of mass of edible protein. Essentially, it's a very fine ground meatloaf baked until golden brown and served either hot or cold. It's a staple, a canvas. And today, our canvas is going to get a rather zesty makeover. While Americans are busy debating pineapple on pizza, we're taking the essence of pizza and embed it into a meatloaf. Why, you ask? Because we can. And quite frankly, it's a revelation on a potato salad. So where do we begin our journey into the emulsified meat bliss? Well, with the meat, of course. We require 3 types: a pork shoulder or a pork neck, pork fat, and some kind of lean beef. I'm using ground, works just fine. The pork should have visible amounts of fat and connective tissue. This provides the necessary meat and a decent fat content. 200 grams of pork fat, and then the lean beef adds some texture and some depth to it. First rule of Leberkäse and any kind of Brühwurst: cut the meat to a size your meat grinder can easily digest. It's not for aesthetics, it's for speed, and if the meat grinder is doing an easier job on it, it doesn't heat up as much, and heat is a problem. Now be quick about it, cut this into whatever size your meat grinder is. If you have a huge meat grinder, you can do bigger pieces. My meat grinder is just an attachment to a KitchenAid, so I'm going to go for about 1 inch or less. There. Put this back into the fridge or freezer until you're ready to grind it. Speaking of cold, this is our secret weapon: iced water, or better, crushed ice. Most Americans have the luxury of an ice maker in their fridge, so at least you have ice. Some even can make crushed ice. Of course, you can pop this into a sturdy blender and crush it, and you have crushed ice too. Next, the aromatic backbone. The silent orchestra of flavor in here. It's our spice blend. Weighed, not guessed. Not a pinch, not a teaspoon, not a cup. Be a little more precise, particularly with the nitrate salt. Too much pepper won't hurt you. Too much nitrate just might. You can probably see it on the bottom. In here is 18 grams of German concentration nitrate curing salt, called Nitrate, and the concentration is 0.5% of nitrate. In this recipe, the nitrate is mostly used for color retention. So if you don't mind an unappetizing gray color in the end, feel free to replace the nitrate salt with the equal amount of regular plain salt. Preferably iodine-free, because iodine makes the color even worse. In here is also 3 grams of onion powder. Sometimes you want the onion without the moisture. 2 grams of white pepper. 1 gram of sweet paprika, called Edelsüß in German. That gives a subtle sweetness and of course helps with the color. Then for the exotic touch, a 3/4 gram of mace, very common in Germany for any kind of sausage. Mace is the hull or fruit flesh, if you want to call it that, around nutmeg. It has a very much different flavor than nutmeg though. 1/4 gram of ground cardamom for the citrusy kick, and another 1/4 gram of ginger for a little bit of zesty brightness. Remember, this is per kilogram of meat. So if you make a big batch, you need to just double or triple this up as required. Of course, recipe below, and there's a link for a printable recipe on my blog. Now for the secret weapon. Kutterhilfsmittel.
Kutterhilfsmittel.
Say that 3 times quickly. This is a phosphate-based emulsifying aid. You can get that online, link in the description. It allows the meat and the protein to hold on to water and fat, making this a very nice, smooth emulsion, which is what we're aiming for. Why do we need this additive, you ask? Well, blame regulations and industrialized food supply. Back in the day, butchers were allowed to butcher their animals right there and then they could process them. Still warm meat contains a lot of phosphate, and once you let it cool down, a couple hours later, the phosphate dissipates. Back in the day, butchers were able to use the meat right after they slaughtered it, so this would have been completely unnecessary. Today, it's handled in some big factory someplace far away, and maybe the meat was even frozen before it was delivered. That's why we have to add phosphate. I already ground this, but if you're using whole spices, grind this into a fine powder because you want it to distribute well. Now, for the pizza part. This is where we part from tradition, you find that up here, and embrace delicious chaos. We are adding approximately 30% of the meat's weight in additives to this Leberkäse. Classic pizza flavors. Today it's finely cubed pepperoni, finely cubed mozzarella, mushrooms, onions, and red bell peppers. This needs to be pre-cooked. This goes in as is. We need to reduce moisture in this, otherwise we have wet blobs in our Leberkäse. That can't happen. It also needs to cool down, so do this first. I'll start sauteing this in a little bit of oil with a pinch of salt. You chop your cheese and salami or whatever you're using down. And then you simply mix all this thoroughly together. You don't want too much cheese or just sausage in every bite. You want a nice distribution of all of them in one bite. Before we get too busy during the production phase, why don't you give this video a like? It helps my channel. And subscribe if you haven't done so already so you don't miss another episode. All right. Moment of truth. All the metal parts come fresh from the freezer, so they're ice cold. We are using the smallest disc possible because this needs to be very fine. And then we start grinding with the pork. Don't go too quick. You know, heat. More friction, more heat, bad thing. I'm feeding the meat through a second time, so it gets ultra fine. In the second round, I add my already ground beef, so this gets a second round too. We have our finely ground, perfectly chilled meat. Now we must transform that big mess into something Germans call Brät. You can do this with a hand mixer with dough hooks or with a stand mixer like this one. Pedal attachment. In goes the meat. All the spices. And very important, the phosphate. Go slow, again, don't put too much heat into this. Now slowly introduce your crushed ice or iced water. The water slash ice provides two functions. First, it cools the mixture down. And the other one is it provides the water necessary to form an emulsion. An emulsion is always a mix from water and fat, so we need to add water to actually get this like nice creamy consistency. I'm gonna scrape it down real quick. Keep measuring the temperature. We are at the borderline, the 12 degrees, so we need to add more ice. That's the 150 grams of ice slash ice water. Temperature is good, but we're getting slightly too warm here, so we better finish this up. I think that will do. It's a nice homogeneous mass. What it looks like. It's nice. It's sticky. That's the consistency you want. Temperature check. 10.2. We are golden. The moment this hits like over 14-ish, the emulsion will break, the fat will start rendering out, and you will get a greasy, clumpy mass. You don't want that. Keep it cold. Now for the fun part, that's the part where we add the pizza to the Leberkäse. Dump your thoroughly mixed pizza ingredients in here and then just stir to combine. No more mixing, just until everything is nicely combined, and then stop. Go the slowest setting or fold it in by hand, because you don't want to ruin your emulsion now after you worked so hard to get it. This is what it looks like. Now our Pizzaleberkäse needs a home. A place to cuddle up to go into the oven. Most loaf pans you would have to grease out with some fat of some kind. Just a little bit of oil, and then I'm just using a brush and go all around. That will already do, so that the stuff doesn't stick to it. It's much easier to pull out later. And now you slam this in here. Slamming in will get air bubbles out. That's the whole point. So it's a little bit like those masons when they put bricks down. It's actually the same reason. Keeps air out and makes it stick together. Now you should see a German butcher do this on a form that size with two hands and slamming it down. It's actually fun to watch. The trick to get this smoother is to make your spatula wet. That creates a kind of a slippery layer, so you can actually nicely push this in and smooth it over. Now it's all nice and smooth. And what you do is you give it like a cross pattern on top that increases surface area and gives you a better crust. Plus, it looks pretty. There's the result before it goes into the oven. Do not go with a pile on it, because this will come up a little bit anyways, and then you have the juices all over the place. I'm just using a little ramekin to bake the leftovers, because that might be just almost a portion here. Yeah, maybe not, but still too much to throw it out. And there you have it. I'll put this on a baking sheet to catch any drippings. Time to cook this. But it's not as simple as toss it in and forget it. A two-stage baking approach is better. So we're going to start this at 180 Celsius, that's 355. And for about 15 minutes. And then we go down to the 120/250 Fahrenheit and finish it up the remaining 35 to 45 minutes. As mentioned, baking times may vary. What doesn't vary is the core temperature you have to achieve. It should end up between 69 and 72 Celsius. At that point, you pull it out, let it cool. The carryover cooking will get it into safe zone. And after cooling, you can start enjoying it. Since my oven has a thermometer probe, I just put that in and use it. Here's the agonizing waiting game. Don't cut it just yet. Wait for 10 minutes, let it cool, and let the juices redistribute. And there you have it, the perfectly browned, cross-hatched Pizzaleberkäse. That, my friends, is a proper Pizzaleberkäse. The cheese is nicely melted, everything else looks good, it's bouncy and has a good structure. I know I should have made some potato salad or at least have a bun at hand, but I think we can do without. Let's see what this German-Italian fusion looks like. Now, if that isn't a very pretty cross-section, I don't know what is. I'm speechless. This is excellent. It's a little bit like paprika wurst. That's a bologna they make in Germany that has little pieces of paprika in it. The hit from the traditional Leberkäse, and then you have all like the cheese and stuff in it. It's phenomenal. You gotta try that. This may not be the kind of Leberkäse you find in a traditional Munich butcher shop, but it's definitely worth making. It's a very, very tasty variation, or as Germans would say,
Nothing to complain about.
So there you have it. Classic German staple mingles with Italians. And if you're ready to embrace more German cooking, traditional or not so traditional, there is an entire playlist for your education and your entertainment.